And good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. I'm your girl, Jeanette Smith, and it's time for another day of devotion with the 21-day release action journal. And I'm just excited because it's a Monday, it's a new day. We have actually started into the second week of this 21-day journey. And so for that, I'm grateful and excited. And I see that you guys are excited too. So good morning. I see you, Lisa. All right. That is dedication right there. That's West Coast folks. You better come on in early in the morning. Good to see you. Hi, Michael. Hey, how you doing? Good morning. Good morning. Yes, you got it. Our friend, Pastor Reverend Regina Clay, is going to be on with us, and she's doing well. I can tell you she's already checked in, and we are good. I'm waiting in my car to give blood from a 3-month checkup. I'm waiting till they got, well, you better be dedicated on Periscope. I love you. Love you so much, and tell them to take care of you. Tell them they get one prick. That's it. That's it. All right. All right. Good to see you, my love. Hey, good morning, love. Good to see you. Good to have you with always, Monique. Abriana. Hey, Brianna, good to see you. Okay, the South is weighing in this morning. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Good to see you, girl. Hope all is well in your world. Well, for those of you who are new to the 21-day devotional and what this is about, we are going from my book, The Release Action Journal. And it's an action journal because it's not one of those devotionals where you read, you contemplate, you focus on a scripture, and then you kind of go to the next. No, you read, you contemplate, you read, and then you work. You do the work. And so we've been doing the work on here, and you all have been adding to such great conversation. And so I'm so thankful for those of you watching across the platforms, Facebook Live on like 3 of my pages, the Women's Release Experience page, my personal page, my brand page, YouTube, Periscope. We are building this community of women, and the discussions have been so textured and so full and rich. And listen, even though it's a women's devotional, the men have been coming in and sharing, dropping wisdom bombs, and they've been doing it respectfully, so we let them stay. We let them stay. So let's get to why, for those of you who are new to this, the whole concept of release is something that was birthed in me when I went through my cancer struggle many, many years ago. The scripture, Psalm 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I am God." And often we think be still means to be quiet, but the Hebrew root of that word actually means let go. So in other words, you release it, let it go, whatever it is, and know that I am God. And when I was going through my cancer journey, that was important to me to know that even something like cancer, I can let go. Whatever it is you need to let go of today, we want you to know you can let it go. And the process that I follow for our women's group through the release experience is that we encourage you to feel it. Whatever it is, feel it. So many times we try to push it down or pretend it's not there, but feel it so that you can face it. When you face it, you're able to assess, what does this really mean? You can feel something and then make a bad decision, or you can feel something and make a better decision. You're not going to be able to do that until you face it and focus on it. You all know, I say, where focus goes, energy flows. When you flow energy at that thing, you can see it in a 3D way, so that you're able to know, what is the lesson in this? It doesn't have to haunt you. It doesn't have to, entangle you and entrap you. It's something that you dance with. You dance with that feeling till you understand it more. You understand it, then you can trust that whatever it is, God will help you walk through that thing, get the lesson out of it, extract it, and then be done so you can release it. And that's the journey that we go on every day on this 21-day journey. So I'm so glad that you all are with. I see more folks popping in. Top of the morning. Good to see you, Neil. And my sister friend, Cherie Smith Claiborne, and my co-producer and co-facilitator of the Women's Release Experience. Always good to have you on. And she's always a great insights that she drops on this thing too. So speak freely, my dear, speak freely. Michael, yep, you always are a good scribe. So I thank you for that. God is so good. I love that. Hey, Trina, I see you. I see my sister. I see my sister, and I also see you, love. I see you. I'm so glad you made it on. So let's look at the topic for today. This is one that I think is going to, if you're not careful, I have to type it in because I got the old topic in, y'all. What's wrong with me? This is a truth to the point. The new superpower, mindfulness. Mindfulness. Now, this is something that if you're lulled into a false sense of security, you will think you already know all about this. And you will think that's just something they talk about on the OWN network. That's just something that Oprah has on Super Soul Sunday or something like that. But that is not the case when it comes to mindfulness. And we're going to dig into the word, and we're going to dig into positive psychology, even behind why mindfulness can be your new superpower. All right. So let's go to the scripture first. I'm going to pull it up for you. We are coming out of Colossians 3, and I'm going to use the Message Bible version. So let's just read. I've highlighted the scripture that's attached to this devotion, but let's just start at verse 1. So if you're serious about living in the new resurrected life with Christ, act like it. And because I know that I have people of many faiths and many beliefs, whatever you identify as your source, if you're serious about living in that new creation, in that new way of living, and like-minded with that, with what is love, with what is God for you, then act like it. Pursue those things over which Christ presides. Don't shuffle along, eyes to the ground, absorbed with the things right in front of you. Read that again. Don't shuffle along, eyes to the ground, absorbed with what's all in front of you. Look up and be alert to what's going on around Christ. That's where the action is. See things from a higher perspective. See things from his perspective. So that is our scripture that we're coming out of today. And to help me share this information with you, I would love to introduce you all. And now I want y'all to tap her out some comments and emojis and welcome her, because you know this virtual platform, we don't get to hear you. But would you please welcome for me, my sister friend, Pastor Regina Clay. Hello.
Hello. How are you? I'm glad to be here today.
Excellent to have you with us today. Excellent to have you with us today. And I told you that, you know, part of what I'm doing with this devotional, because it's all women that we're sharing, is actually sharing, and everybody's saying their hellos. So.
Hey. Hello.
Yeah. And she says she misses you. That's Tanya.
Oh, miss you, Tanya. Oh, Tanya is on Periscope. Okay, Tanya. I miss you.
I always get reminded our spirits lead us to where we need. Absolutely. Hey, Lisa. Good to have you. So one of the things that I'm doing in this devotion, because it's led with powerful women, is that I'm asking them to introduce themselves by what God has allowed you to accomplish. Because one of the things I also want to model is that we aren't afraid in that area to speak what God is doing through us, because I love my brothers, and Neil, you know, you and others are a great prayerful presence, but sometimes it's harder for women than it is for men to speak what we have accomplished and what God is doing. So introduce yourself to the tribe.
Well, hello, everyone. Let me just say this. I'm a mother, I'm a pastor, I'm a teacher, I am in the political world. I do a lot of things, but one of the things I don't let my title describe me, because I'm just Regina, right? And I just am who I am. I have a mission statement, and my mission statement describes a lot about who I am. I exist to be a connector of people, resources, and ideas who exemplify faith while developing leaders with love. And I make that statement because connecting is what's important to me. So you all know in this pandemic, I've been like, what? But that's why I stay on Facebook. Yeah. That's why I have all these Zoom birthday parties and girls gatherings and college gatherings, because I love connecting with people. And that gives me joy, gives me excitement. In terms of my accomplishments, I mean, I have my master's in divinity. I went to undergrad at University of Virginia, and I have worked with the top motivational speakers that there are: Les Brown, Willie Jolly, Delatoro McNeil, Andy Enriquez, just lots of people in that world, because I connect with people. And my life actually brings me to connecting with people. One of my friends always tells me, she's like, Regina, you have 5,000 Facebook friends. Like, really? Like, really, do you? I said, well, I'm connected to people in a lot of different ways. So I think that one of my greatest accomplishments are my children. I talk about that all the time because I know I look 20, but I have my daughter at 39 and I have my son at 43. My son is 13 and my daughter is 16, going on 25.
I think there's a lot of parents that understand that sentiment.
Yeah. So, and I say that they're my greatest accomplishments because I never let what man said about me getting pregnant. I never let that stop me because I always believed what God told me. And God told me that I would have a son and a daughter. And that's exactly what happened. My latest biggest accomplishment,
I said, that's awesome.
Yeah. My latest biggest accomplishment is this little poster behind me as I wrote my first book. I was in a collaboration book before, 2 collaboration books before, but writing my own story. And Sister Jeanette, just that whole telling your story is so important.
Absolutely.
You can't, I was watching, I'm sure some people have watched the Becoming documentary.
Michelle
and
Obama.
That's exactly what Michelle Obama said. She said, you are your story. You're not a statistic. So that's why the titles and all the other things, here I go with my hands, but that's why all of those different things are not what's important. What's important is my story.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people don't know my story. They see me, they think, they're like, oh, she's this, she's that, but they don't know what the struggles I've been through. Yes, I had 2 kids, but what it was like going through that process, what it's been like becoming a pastor, what it's been like graduating from college.
Right.
That's
the meat of it. Well, I've put your website up so that they can learn more about it, and I'm gonna dive in because actually, Miss Shirley, hey, I'm so glad to see you doing well because I know you have to pop out earlier because of her job today. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna dive into it, and we're gonna get started with the devotional, how we are led through the devotional. So I say that. I asked the question, are you one of the many people who roll their eyes whenever somebody brings up the topic of mindfulness? To tell the truth, it's easy to throw that topic into, like I said, an Oprah category. But you may find that many of your small day-to-day issues are tied to not being able to be mindful. Many definitions of mindfulness center around staying present, being less distracted, and refraining from either future tripping or baggage carrying. But as Christians, God is a part of our everyday lives. So paying attention and focusing on His will is a fundamental practice of our mind, fundamental piece rather of our mindful practice. Why was this topic, as you go into your first nugget about mindfulness, why was this important to you? Why did this topic resonate with you?
Because mindfulness literally changed my whole trajectory of life.
Wow.
My whole life.
What was the essence of mindfulness that made the difference?
Speaking and believing everything that that I've been taught, that God has given me. And also speaking positive. We really can get into some negative connotations. And I'm not saying that, I haven't been negative sometimes.
We're people.
Yeah, we're human, but the positive affirmations. And so my daily routine changes. I do affirmations. I do meditation. I do all of those kind of mindfulness. Those are mindfulness exercises, but they're not exercises to me. They're a way of life.
Right.
So that's why this topic, when you sent it, I was like,
which one? Yeah,
absolutely. I was like, because I know for me, it has made a major difference. I'm just going to share a story real quick. My daughter, there was something that she was applying for or doing, and she was like, oh, but I'm not going to get it. I said, stop. I said, don't think that, because, what we speak comes to pass, and what we believe and what is in our mind can come to pass. So that's why it was important to me. So one of the things that I say to people is, you have to feed your mind with the things that you want to believe. And I use a lot of I am statements.
Mm-hmm.
I am healthy. Mm-hmm. I am 60 pounds lighter. Look, and it's interesting because, people will say, well, you're not 60 pounds lighter, but I believe that I am.
Yeah.
So I walk in that.
Yeah.
So I just believe I am statements, speaking them as though they are.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you all hear, I'm about to share an incident experience with a client, a former client, and you all share where you know that there's this area in your life where if you practice more mindfulness, you might see some results. One coaching client described her relationship as feeling empty, her work passionless. She said it felt as if she was half present in her life. We discovered that it was because she was checking out. Many times we check out, not even realizing it. Then we get to the end of the day only to feel empty and disconnected. Spacing out can be a type of defense mechanism as well. After all, the world is a lot to handle, especially for highly sensitive, in tune, or empathic people. If I'm honest, some might find it strange that I find it hard to watch the news anymore. I talk about this all the time. I was in the news for over 25 years. I'll go a whole day and not watch it. And I just know how much my spirit can take at this point. And after years of having to be in the middle of all that chaos, and unfiltered madness, I chose to get my news in bite-sized chunks from an app. So what I think was important with her was not realizing that you set this intention in the morning for how your day will go, but then you don't really focus there and keep your mind present. And then at the end of the day, what you realize is you've been kind of like this leaf, just allowing the water to float you to whatever direction and in whatever direction, and you lose your way. You lose chunks of time. And we're going to go through later 10 things from a licensed therapist that will help us realize if maybe we're having a problem with mindfulness. But have you all ever had that kind of situation where, you started out in one direction, end of the day, you're in another direction, and it's totally due to a lack of mindfulness and staying present and staying focused. And Regina talked about it in a kind of a macro level. Like, what do I want for my life? I got to set that target for my life. And those are the things. But day to day, right, Regina, we can lose it day to day.
I'm just going to show you this. This is my journal, right? And in my journal daily, I write my goals for that day. I write them for that week, and then I break them down for that day.
Yeah.
And that is a part of mindfulness to me as well.
Absolutely.
Because we have it in our mind. We know what we're saying. We know what our goals are. But just like you said, we get lost. We get very lost a lot of times in busyness. And then we don't reflect back on what's important. And when you're setting goals, you do have to also break it down a little bit. Bite-sized chunks.
Yeah. You got to drill in. But the thing I think that happens for many of us, if we're honest, is that other people's agendas and other people's influences and external things now come in, and you give that more weight than, what you had set your intention on. Now, look, if you have a job, yes, there are things and tasks that you're going to have to do. That's just a part of it. But I'm with Regina. Like, I have a notebook that I write not only what I need to do for the day, but what my goals are. I've started, even through this whole COVID thing, saying, what do I want to feel like? What are the
Mm.
emotions I want to create for me that day? Because being so empathic and feeling stuff around me, I was feeling a lot of heavy and a lot of, kind of chaotic and sadness. I was like, I don't want to feel that all day. What do I want to feel? And then when you set your intention, you're mindful about what it is you want to even feel, then you start bringing those things to surface by drawing in what will help you get there. Lisa says, like-minded people. I love you both. I walk, breathe, speak, knowing when I do those things, I'm creating and manifesting. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And let's just go with that word manifesting for a minute.
Right.
Because there's a lot of people, church people, that word manifesting is not something that they like to talk about. But manifesting is clearly in the Bible, for one, and the word of God says you speak. Life and death are in the power of the tongue.
That's right.
Life and death are in the power of the tongue. That is the word of God. And that's a lot of what manifesting is. Life and death are in the power of the tongue. And I believe that. I know for myself, and that's good that you talked about how you feel, because sometimes I have to even check my conversations with people, right? Because if that conversation is going in a way that's not making me feel good, or not making me, or taking me off my journey, I have to stop that.
Yeah.
Right. And I have to breathe. I do breathing exercises often. I do tapping solutions. I'm a
tapping. Our tribe knows about tapping.
Yeah, so I'm very much into those kind of external,
holistic kind of practices that help bring balance. Absolutely.
Yeah. And when I thought of as I was reading this scripture, and I thought about, people were saying, well, think about the things above and don't think about earthly things, right? Well, we're on this earth, right? And we are thinking about that. But what I believe, and I thank you for sharing the Message Bible, is thinking about beyond what is now, right? Like, you can get caught up right now in the COVID situation, like, oh my gosh, we'll never get out. Oh my gosh, we'll never, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. But you have to say, if God did it before, he'll do it again.
Right. Right. And how mindfulness plays into that. It's not worrying about what's about to happen, but being mindful about what the things are that are right in front of you. Stay present. So the things, we'll never accomplish the outcome only focusing on the outcome. We have to focus on the small metered things that we do every day, moment by moment. And what happens is, if you're only so concerned about, oh my God, what's going to happen? Oh my God, then you're not focusing any time on what do I need to be doing in the now, And let me just add this. For some of us, you might be depressed. You might be clinically depressed. You might be functionally depressed. You might have a lot of things going on. And for that, I absolutely recommend, and I'm sure Regina does too, that you see a licensed therapist to help you in that area. If it's not a clinically ascribed, depression or something like that, a coach can help you. Yes. But those are the things that you've got to identify, because if it's hard for you to stay in the present and focus on what's happening in the now, you've got to ask yourself a couple of questions, like, why am I foggy? Why am I fogging out? Why is it hard for me to focus on me? Why is it hard for me to sit in quiet? I know a lot of you have inboxed me that, it's the quiet, it's the eerie quiet. There's nothing going on. Now what's being shown is you were distracting yourself. Being able to go and come and do and all this stuff. But now the world has gotten really quiet. Can you sit in that space with yourself? Can you allow yourself the time to download? What is God speaking in this time? Can you be in that present space, not worried about what happened, not scared about what might or might not happen, but just be in the presence? Neil says, yes, in the now. Michael says, ain't no need to worry about tonight. Don't bring it's going to be all over. You better quote a whining song.
Amen. Well, I'm going to go to what my grandmother said.
Uh-huh.
He said, if you're going to pray, don't worry. If you're going to worry, don't pray.
That's it.
And then I go to our bishop. Trust God.
Absolutely.
Trust God. We all, I'm sure, have had many experiences, and the God of your understanding.
Yeah.
I'm very clear about that. The God of your understanding. If whatever he or she has done before, he, she, it, however you describe it, whatever they have done before, they can do it again. It can happen again. And that's very, very important to understand. So I think that's very important. I think about that all the time when I start praying about something. And I really reflect on my grandmother's saying. She was like, if you're going to worry, child, don't pray then.
Right.
If you're going to keep worrying about it and worrying about it. So I think that is very, very important. And sitting still. And I'm just going to be transparent here. I don't have any kind of clinical depression, but I see a therapist regularly.
Yeah. Girl, me too when I need it.
Yeah, because it's and one of the things that I tell people all the time, it's not, you don't see a therapist because you need, like, something's wrong with you.
Right. I think all coaches and therapists should have a therapist and a coach, because you're taking on so much people's stuff sometimes, even, I mean, not to mention that you have your own stuff that you're trying to work through and work out. But I also think it's another level when you are that kind of cup holder for somebody else.
Yes.
You know what I mean? To work through. So I'm all
Absolutely. about it. I think that's very important. But if there are, if you feel in a greater need, then definitely see someone. And the stigma, we have to take away that stigma.
Absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Absolutely. Even DJ Sam, I see you, brother Sam, asked why doesn't our community talk more about this? There's so many reasons. That's like a whole nother show. But you're right. We don't talk about that. In this case, I need a team. Sometimes it takes a team. And when you start one place, you realize, I need to add more people to the team. Or you might get the work done. I mean, I thank you for being transparent, Neil. And here's why I wanted to include this topic in the devotional, because it's one of those sneaky small foxes. Like the Bible talks about the small foxes spoil the vine. It's one of those sneaky small foxes that we don't even understand how great, like I said, a superpower it is in our life. If you find it hard to focus in the present, truth be told, you will always kind of be more susceptible to being influenced by other people's opinions, by the external things that are happening around you, because you're not shoring yourself up. You're not anchoring yourself. And you've got to have an anchor, or else, listen, you can scroll through your phone in 1 minute and intend, right, with all mindfulness, intend that this is the day I'm going to spend on working on my blog or working on my book or spending more time with my kids. And you can pick up your phone and in less than 30 seconds, totally thrown off of that path.
Totally.
Because of an email or because of a social media alert or because of something else. And that's the thing that I really wanted people to see, is that if you don't create like this bubble around yourself and spend time just practicing, it's a muscle. You have to practice this art of mindfulness, of touching base and aligning yourself with God and aligning yourself within, setting those intentions, or else people will continue to set them for you. And you don't want that. I do thank you for your prayers, because it feels like I'm coming from a place of trust than fear. Prayer will do that. Yes.
Fear. And I love your release. Yes. And look, and I'm calling it a circle, but
yeah, I got you.
Yes, but one of the things that I talk about all the time, you have to face it to fix it.
Yes,
you have to face it in order to fix it. Because you can walk around with the mindfulness that everything's okay when it's not.
Yeah, it becomes your new norm. It's not even like you're trying to lie to yourself. It just kind of has become the new norm. And, you know, we talked about Romans 12:2 before, where it talks about don't conform to the patterns of the world, but be renewed by the transforming of your mind. The transforming of your mind again speaks to don't see what everybody else is doing and look around at the chaos and the crazy, this and that. And we even talked about when this whole thing started, there was an example that one of my colleagues shared about his sister-in-law was like, oh my God, it's crazy. It's just crazy. And she was working herself up. But he was like, what's crazy? I'm sitting in your backyard. You've got a lovely home. You're not impacted in your work by this, right? Nobody you know has COVID.
Right.
I mean, like nothing in your life is crazy. Why are you, you know, ascribing to signing up for that package and making yourself crazy, saying it's crazy, right?
Right.
So again, mindfulness, you've got to, that's it, Sam, right there. Protect your focus. Protect your focus. Wow, I'm facing something now, and Pastor just said that.
Okay. You have to face it to fix it.
That's it. That's
it. In my transparent moment, because that's who I am. That's part of who I am too. When I realized that I could no longer be married to the person that I was married to, I had to face it. I was a minister at the time. I was an ordained minister at the time. And in the world of church, divorce is not the way.
Right. That's right.
I had to.
In some churches, let me say that, because some churches understand it's about who God draws together, and they understand who God joins together isn't always who you showed up at the altar with.
Come on now, that's real. But I had to face it and not do what my parents said, not do what the world said, but do what was in Regina's heart. Even in writing this book, this is part of my story too. Even in writing this book, when I showed it to my mother after it was already printed, I didn't show it to her, not in print. She said, can you change some wording? Can you do? I said, I can't, Mom, because this is part of my healing. And my mom is my hero, my best friend, my confidant. She's my supporter. She knows every nook and cranny. She knows every trial I've been through.
That's not Mama trying to cover you, though.
That's what it was. It was she was trying to cover me. But even in that, not being disrespectful to her, but just being, Mom, I need this for my healing. I need this. I need to face my own reality. You know, I have faced my own reality, and I need to tell others so that I can help and heal, and so others can heal through this process.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I saw you, Lisa. I saw you referring to the story I was saying. She was drawing crazy to herself. Absolutely. Who wants to sign up for that? We ain't signing up for that. So we're going to move into some tips. Now, I want to share where I got this from and give it right attribution. The easiest way to stay connected, y'all, and again, I'm back to the book, and become more mindful is to focus on our 5 senses. Start by taking notice of the little things around you. Do you know, tell me with your emojis or something, y'all, how many times have you ever been in the car driving home, driving to work, whatever, and you don't remember the last 4 or 5 miles because you instinctively know the way home. You get in the car and you see those white lines and your mind just goes places, and you look up and you're like, oh, I'm home now. Anybody ever? Yeah. So it's about starting to take notice of the little things around you. I see you, Sam. I see you. Take notice of the little things around you. Notice how hot the water is in your shower. Notice the things around you. What do you see? What do you what do you sense? What do you smell? I see you, Neil. What do you sense? What do you see? What do you smell? Look at the trees on your way to work. Taste the seasoning in your food. I see you, Reverend Riri. Taste the seasoning in your food. You know, oftentimes they say we eat so much because we don't slow down enough to enjoy and to really taste the food that we eat. These little mundane sensations might seem boring, but once you've cultivated awareness, everything becomes more interesting. Now, I want to share some signs. And Regina, I know that in a few you're going to have to bounce out, and that's fine. But we're going to go ahead and start with some of the signs that you're checking out, that you're not in an active mode of mindfulness, okay? And these come from psychotherapist Jessica Tapana. All right, the first one is, well, where is it? Girl. All right, well, let me read it and then I'll find it. You forget how you got where you are, literally or figuratively. Forget where you are or where you were. Okay, here we go. You forget how you got where you are, literally or figuratively. That's why I asked you all that question. How many of us have done that? Then we have disengaged that muscle of mindfulness. Okay. When you arrive at a place or a train of thought without knowing how you got there, that's a sign that you're on autopilot. That was us. According to those cases, we need to slow down then. That's our sign. We need to slow down and become more deliberate about where we're going and how we got there. Maybe taking a new route. Now, that's something that I did. Very easy thing. I live 6 minutes from my job. There's a quick route. I just know, beep, boop, beep, boop, boop. But what it didn't allow me to do was and I moved to this new city, right? I didn't know anything about anything within that 6 mile drive. So then I started taking a new route to get there. Then I started saying, oh, look at that little cafes over there and look at those restaurants over there. You know what I mean? And so not only does it activate that muscle of mindfulness, it also increases your exposure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you ever done that, Rena?
Yes. And I think, and I think one of the benefits for me of the COVID-19 and the quarantine is to have those times of, because you have to be intentional where you're going and what you're doing, but you can see so much around you because there's not as much traffic moving. You're not moving in the, I do that too on the way to work. I live about 6 or 7 minutes away from work as well. And I go different ways at different times.
Yeah.
Because I just want to see other things.
Even they'll tell you from a scientific standpoint, like you're mapping new routes in your brain.
Yeah.
Like the synapses in your brain start firing different because when you create a pattern, a habit, and a habit is just the same pattern over and over again. So when you create different patterns, your brain goes, oh, wait, I need to be more sharp. I need to be more focused. And that focus now translates to every area, not just that one area. So guys, try it. That's something you need to try. The second thing is that your thoughts race at night. One sign of being in your head is getting lost in thought as you lay awake at night. Chances are the same thoughts that are distracting you from sleeping are also distracting you from valuable experiences in your waking life. Try to pay attention to the rhythm of your breath and feel your blanket, your sheets, and other physical sensations. This will also help you fall asleep. Now, I know if I ask this question, I'm going to get some emojis. How many of you have been having trouble sleeping during this pandemic? It is not, it's not, an oddity for me to go to bed anytime between 2 and 4 in the morning. And my brain is just going.
Right.
My brain's just rolling. I see Nicole, beautiful wedding dress, by the way.
Oh, Nicole is my neighbor upstairs.
Hey, Nicole, I'm loving that.
I married them. I married her and her husband.
Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah. Your thoughts are racing at night. And so it's saying mindfulness will help us bring us back to a place where now we can be still in our mind, body, and spirit so that you can lay down without all that yah going on here. The other thing, Regina mentioned this, like your notebook. I keep it by my bed so that what I find is sometimes my brain is racing because I have all this stuff that I'm thinking, creative stuff, like my creative faculty gets turned on. And if I put it in the notebook, then I can release it because I'm like, I won't forget it. You know what I mean? Right. Like I don't have to hold it.
That's very, very important. I also do some, I do programming at night. Like I listen to certain guided meditations at night
Yes.
to help to clear my mind.
Yes.
To take my mind away from everything else. And that has been positive for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So many things that we share, and we share a lot of tools on that. You all will hear me talk about sound baths, those crystal bowls. They're all attuned to different frequencies, binaural beats. They're tuned to different frequencies to help activate or deactivate certain things going on in your body physiologically, like your fight or flight hormones and all those things. There's so many things that you can do to kind of relieve all of that tension. You do too, Michael. I see you.
Michael, I see you.
So number 3, you avoid situations where something could go wrong. Sometimes we stay in our heads because it feels safer than throwing ourselves into experiences. If you avoid social situations, new work opportunities, or other experiences because you feel like something could go wrong, you might be keeping yourself in a bubble. You may also not be putting it all out there when you do find yourself in those situations. So it feels like it's protection. But what she's saying is that's not serving you. It's hiding. And if you would just think about it in an intentional way, you could find a positive way to engage, a positive way to get involved, a positive way to become more of who you are in those circumstances and situations than avoiding, because avoiding doesn't get you anything.
No.
Yeah. Number 4, y'all. You can't remember the last thing you ate. Oh my God, for the COVID.
Woo! Woo!
Let me tell you how real that is, y'all. Let me tell you how real that is. For me, it got so real. I said, just stop eating for a minute. Just stop. Stop eating.
Me too.
Stop eating. I just took a day. I said, stop eating. Because I don't even really know what's get your life together, whatever is happening. But you cannot be doing this. The way we experience a meal is the perfect test of mindfulness. You could enjoy all the distinct flavors and textures, or you could have absolutely no recollection of what you just ate. Can you believe that? You can either choose to sit and enjoy all the distinct flavors and textures, or have no recollection of what you just ate because you were in your head the entire time. Enjoying a meal can also be a great way to practice mindfulness. Try to eat slowly without any distractions and taste everything. Experience it.
You know, one of the things that reminds me.
I feel attacked.
That's funny. Because I mean, in this situation that we're in, how many of you all are eating, watching the movie, watching the Netflix, watching the Facebook lives, watching all of those different things?
Eating while distracted, I call it. I need to start making citations. That's what I feel like. Like I've got, like we could be little cops. From I'm serving you this, ma'am, for eating while distracted. Like,
right, exactly.
I know. So that's the thing we talked about in the beginning, was even the smallest of things that we do in our lives, right? We could find it that we're, oh, you know what? I don't practice mindfulness.
Right.
We're bringing humor to it because it is humorous, but know that these things translate out into other areas of your life. Okay. Number 5, nothing seems fun anymore. That was one of the things I was dealing with my client. The cruel irony of spacing out is that we do it to entertain ourselves, but it frequently leaves us bored since we're not taking any new information in. When you're always looking to the future or remembering the past, the present might be escaping you. To truly enjoy where you are right now in your life, you have to be present. And I know you got to bounce out, so I'm going to let you have the final word on this one.
Yeah, being present is so important, and staying in the now. It's not to say that you don't think about the future, and it's not to say that you something that happened in your past, but being present in the now is so important to your mindfulness. It helps you to not make things not fun anymore. If you think about the future and what I need to be in this, I need to do this, I need to do, or, if I had done this 10 years ago, just be now. You are where you are exactly where you are supposed to be in your life. You are exactly in the place that God has placed you. And don't ever, and just always remember that. That will help you to keep the joy in it.
Yeah,
Sure.
absolutely. Before you go, I just want to share everybody with you. I put her website up, reginaclay.com. This is where you can find her if you want to know more about Regina and all the things that she does. As you see there, as a consultant speaker, virtual assistant, executive virtual assistant, mompreneur, and pastor. Thank you so much, Regina.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah, thank you. And they're saying thank you too. I can see where are you? Thank you, Pastor. Many blessings to you.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, Regina, take good care.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye. So you all, I'm going to share the last of these, but I also want to put something out there. Now, this just came to me. Didn't plan to do this, but I feel like somebody needs it. And so I want to make sure that I'm obedient in that area. If you have a question for me, I'm going to put the link out so that you can come in. Okay. If you have a question, you want to share, you have a comment that you want to make and you want to be on screen with me, or you have a question, I'm going to do a little lifetime coaching today. Okay. Because I just feel like, even though we're making light of the situation, or the topic rather, to bring levity so that you can ingest it a little better, this is a lot of your success. I would dare to say more than 70 to 80% of your success is going to lie on your ability to be mindful, on your ability to focus forward by staying present. So we'll continue with these and we'll keep it going. All right. So we've said nothing seems fun anymore. The first 5, you forget where you are literally or figuratively. 2, your thoughts race at night. 3, you avoid situations where something could go wrong. 4, you can't remember the last thing you ate. 5, nothing seems fun anymore. And now we'll move on to 6. 6, you think everything is a stepping stone to the future. Many people have a habit of setting a future goal and deciding that once they achieve that, they're going to be happy. Anybody? Anyone? Right? Once I lose that weight, I'll be happy. Once I get that man or that woman, I'll be happy. Once my ministry grows to X amount, I'll be happy. Once I get this much money in my account, I'll be happy. Sound familiar? Once we have a new apartment, job, relationship, or any of that, we think that that's going to make it for us. And then when we reach our goal, we come up with a new goal. It's a never-ending cycle of infinitely delayed gratification. Now, this is an area I think anybody can relate to. We feel like once this happens, then that. If this, then that. And we constantly and consistently put ourselves into that never-ending cycle of believing that that's where the money is. Not literally, but like that's the golden egg. Like once that happens. And I don't know if any of you have felt that way, or any of you can relate to that. I'm putting the link in the chats. So if you want to come on and talk about any of these points, or you have a coaching question for me, you can do it. We'll move on to number 7. You're bad with names. Don't wiggle too much and we won't know it's you. Being bad with names is often just the result of not paying attention. It's hard to remember somebody's name when you've not actually learned it. When we aren't present, we aren't listening. The more present we are at each moment and in each moment, the more we'll remember about it. I've got to tell you, that is one of my places of names. And I have to say to myself, because I get so engaged in what they're saying that their name goes by me. And so what I've had to do is stop, pause, and say it to myself 3 times. I have to stop, pause while I'm looking at their face and say their name over and over again. Neil says that's me, all right. Totally can relate, but I know we can feel any emotion we want to at any time. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, at any moment, like this moment, you could choose to give yourself grief about it, or judge yourself about it, or you could just say, that's an area I need to work on. Okay. And then that's it. That's the thing about the release experience. You feel the feeling, you focus on it, right? You face it so you can focus on it. And then just realize that's an area I have some work to do. You don't have to beat yourself up. Never, 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 never. And you don't allow somebody else to beat yourself up, but you allow yourself to get understanding so you can figure out, how do I become more successful in that area? That's the point. How do I become more successful in this area? All right. Number 8. And for those of you who are new to me, I hope that you like my page wherever you are. Tap out some hearts, Periscope. Y'all know how I like my hearts and kisses. Make sure you're following. Make sure you share this. You don't have to, if you don't want to put it on your whole page, send it to some friends, because I know that there's tons of us that need help in this area. So number 8, you're hooked to your phone. When we're uncomfortable in the moment, or our gadgets can provide a convenient escape. When we're uncomfortable in a moment, our gadgets can provide a convenient escape. And when we want to be present, our notifications can take us out of the moment. We talked about that. Social media eats our time and distracts us from our thoughts. Controlled time is one thing, but mindless and endless exposure takes you out of your life and numbs your experience. Thank you for the chocolate kisses. I appreciate them. Are y'all hearing this? Your phone. Now, you probably be watching me on your phone, but we're talking about mindfulness. So you're growing in your mind, body, and spirit. But if you spend hours upon hours, if you're in a conversation with somebody and you can't help but pick up your phone, you're at dinner and you can't help it, they're saying, and part of this I know because I've seen some studies too, that there's an addictive nature to it. So we got to look at that too. But the other part about combating it is about understanding that you're losing focus and mindfulness and being in the present, and you're escaping by picking up your phone and getting caught up in the notifications and getting caught up in the other stuff. My phone has saved me from some unneeded situations. Well, then when you use it as that kind of tool, then I understand, Neil. Then I understand. If it gets you out of trouble, then we understand. Number 9, you feel disconnected from people. When we're truly present, we feel hyper connected to others. Every facial expression, body gesture, or tonality becomes information that tells us what they're thinking and what they're feeling. When we are not present, we tune out on those very important cues. It's as if we're communicating through a screen. Even if they're right in front of us, we have that nagging feeling of being alone, even when we're together, and communication becomes a struggle. And that's so important, even more important now, because we can't be together. If we are combative at work or with our loved ones, we aren't working through our emotions clearly, or we're avoiding them outright. Being combative is not about being present and mindful, and not only communicating where you feel that injustice has been done, or where you feel you're not being heard, but also hearing, right? And understanding from the other person's perspective. That's not communication if you're only trying to make them understand how you feel. It's not. That is you giving a monologue. That is not a dialogue. If you don't try, even when it's hard, even when you feel like somebody's wronged you, if you don't try to understand the why behind their actions and words, you are not having a even communication. Or we're unable to communicate because we're worrying or numbing ourselves with activities. In this time of COVID, it can be so easy to feel alone, right? And so we have to pay even more attention, because all you're doing is able to Zoom, or all you're doing is able to FaceTime, or all you're doing is able to watch people. That's why I always, at the end, you've seen me doing big gestures. I make big gestures and I do big things so that you can feel the weight of my words and not just my face. I think I'm a pretty facial, I think I'm pretty facially expressive. But beyond that, because I want you to feel what I'm saying. I want you to understand what I'm saying. I want it to rattle up in your bones when I tell y'all I love you and I appreciate your time and that I hear you and that I understand, what you're dealing with. And if I can't help you with something I know, I'm going to find it for you. Gadgets definitely filters out the energy. Absolutely. And they not only filter out the energy because they take your focus, but even that's why they tell you to put blue blockers in your glasses, because just from a physiological standpoint, what all this electronics gives out is zapping your energy, right? So that's something else to consider too. But on the tip of mindfulness, it's why are you picking it up in the first place? And that's the question you have to ask yourself. All right, so here's some questions, y'all. What ways do you check out? What are the ways that you check out? Right? Or you can answer this one. What might you be trying to avoid? What might you be trying to avoid? Thank you to those of you who shared the broadcast. I appreciate you. I see you. I see you. I see you. Thank you to those of you who connected. Thank you for those who share. Business. Got you. Is it because it can feel a little overwhelming? Sam, if you want to put that in, you don't have to put that, or busyness. I see you. Okay, busyness. All right. You check out through busyness. Gotcha. Yep. Come on, y'all. Don't get all silent session on me now. I'll throw out another question. What things can you cut back on to help you stay present? So, Sam, I would say busyness, right? Thank you for the green hearts. I love the limey colored hearts. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Kiss my cheeks. What are the things that you can cut back on to help you stay present? I'm trying to avoid the outcome. That's some honesty for your soul right there. Yep, that's what we do. Try and avoid the outcome. Good share. Anybody else? What things and what ways do you check out? Or what might you be trying to avoid? What things can you cut back on to help you stay present? And lastly, what things, who do you need to focus your attention on more right now? That's a great question. Who do you need to focus your attention on more right now? These are the questions that will help you more fully be aware of the role of mindfulness in your life, to help you, to guide you, to give you some direction. Because once you admit it, then you can get to doing something about it. Reverend Riri says, myself. Absolutely. Who do you need to focus on? Myself. Me, myself, and I. Yep. Michael, what do you need to focus your attention on more right now? Because you're doing an awesome job of scribing, but I want you to be able to take part. What things do you need to focus on more in your life? Monique, what things do you need to focus on in your life? Nicole, what things do you need to focus more on in your life? Lisa, what things do you need to focus more on in your life, maybe? Tanya, if you're still there, because I know you're at work, what things do you need to focus more on in your life? Lisa, what things do you need to focus on more in your life? I need to be more present with the hubs. I'm doing golf claps. That's absolutely great. me. I need to put my attention on I put my attention so much more than myself. There goes the weight gain. Come on, y'all are doing heavy lifting today. Heavy lifting today. Need to put more attention on God and being around positive people. Come on now. This is what I'm talking about. This is where the change happens. I feel like Debbie Allen. This is where the stuff happens. This is where the work gets done. Right here. Sweat. Jonathan says, welcome, Jonathan. Binge watching Netflix. Okay, so you went through the questions. So, all right. Binge watching Netflix. You need to focus on your ministry and finishing a contract for broadcasting. There you go. Sounds like a plan to me, brother. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. So, yeah, I think a lot of us have checked out through Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, you name it. Yep. And I'm not sure if question two. Oh, so what are you trying to avoid your ministry? Got you. Well, I think being able to say that and being able to give definition to that. The question, complete content for broadcast. Got you. Complete content for broadcast. I got you. So then my question becomes, sit down, or not question, but my coaching advice to you is get your notebook, sit down and ask yourself, why am I avoiding this? What is it I'm avoiding? And do I need help? Because sometimes, y'all, that's the thing. Sometimes it's about you need help. Okay. Ergo, coaches, therapists, and the like. But sometimes you can work it out yourself. You just got to figure out why. It's about your big fat why, man. When you can figure out your why, then you can get to the heart of the matter. Daryl says time management and commitment to the cause, whatever it is. Yeah, I think time management is a huge deal for many of us. I think that time management is huge, Daryl. So thank you for that honest share. Absolutely. Amen. Yeah, Jonathan. By the way, you like the color scheme? Thanks. Appreciate it. Thanks for sharing. Those are the things, y'all. Those are the things that we've got to stop and take a moment. Take a moment of mindfulness to stop and ask yourself, what am I not being mindful about? Am I not present with my spouse? Am I not present with my kids? Am I not present with myself? Because listen, if you can't be present with yourself, it's going to be really hard to be present with somebody else. Take that time. Do chunks of time. I always say, don't get overwhelmed. Like, I can't do it. You can do it. Say, I'm going to do 5 minutes today. There are even apps that can help you with this. So I'm going to take 5 minutes today and just focus on, and maybe that's part of your morning. The mindfulness practices, I'm going to focus on what intent I want to set for the day. At the end of the day, I want to feel like this. At the end of the day, I want to have accomplished this. Take the 5 minutes. After you can do 5, do 10. After you do 10, do 20. After you do 20, take 30 minutes a day to check in. And then after you're able to do that and you start building, that's like lifting weights. You start with a 5 pound, a 10 pound, a 20 pound, and then you build yourself up to where you're mindful in every moment. You're mindful in every moment. Thank you, Jonathan. That's right. You increase the reps. That's the muscle, right? And so once you're able to do those small chunks, then through the day you can find yourself. You can ask yourself, am I being mindful? I've done that. Let me be honest. As a creative, I'm always thinking. I look at other people's stuff and I think about 10 different ways they could do it. I look at things on TV. I ask questions in my brain. I look at my own stuff and I'm like, oh, you could have done this like that. And I have to shift my brain because I don't want to dampen my creative faculty at all. But what I do want to do is I want to make sure I'm staying present. And so what I've learned and been working on even for myself right now is asking questions, clarifying questions. I'll be in a conversation with somebody and my brain might have scooted off to, they'll say, I had this idea of that. And I'll be thinking about 20 things they can do. And I had to go back and I'll say, I'm sorry, say the last part again. Can you say the last part again? Same, you too? Yeah. Because I don't want to, and I risk the fact that they're going, you're not listening to me, but I also know that they'll appreciate that I stopped, paused, and said, I'm sorry, I'm not tracking that last part. Can you share that with me again? Because they know that at least that I care, right? At least that I care. because I'm going to take the moment to roll it back and say, okay, let me make sure I get the fullness out of this. All right. I hope that you all have gotten something out of this. I know it's not the sexiest topic that we do, but I'm telling you, your life will change exponentially. Your relationships exponentially. I've seen growth in my own relationships. I've seen growth in my own different areas of my own life because I'm more mindful about how I handle them. And so that's what I want for you. I want you to understand it's not just something we talk about, some weird Oprah new agey weirdness, superpower of mindfulness. No. It really is a tool that can help you make better decisions and so you can make better living, have a better living in every area of your life. In every area of your life. So I'm glad that you all were here for this one. And for those of you who are new or those of you who just are following the journey, I want you to stay with me tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about detox for your soul. We drink detox tea. We do all kind of detox for your face and your aesthetics. But do you detox your soul? And I'm excited to have with me the Reverend Telly L. Gadsden. She's a powerhouse woman of God in huge circles of life. And though she's new to me, she's not new to my friend, Reverend Riri. And so on her recommendation, she says that she's going to bring just tremendous value to the discussion tomorrow. And I'm always looking to increase my circle. That's why I wanted to do this, to share the platform of increasing my circle and hearing what other women's experiences are, because I want to grow too. As I pour out to you, I want to grow too. So I'm excited. I hope you'll tune in tomorrow. Oh, you're absolutely welcome. I am so glad to be a resource of the divine, just bringing what I feel like will help us on this on this path we call life. I was just in a workshop about mindfulness as we work remotely. Wow, Dennis. See? Yep, timely discussion. Timely discussion. Good to see you, Dennis. Effective and that much needed. Thank you for allowing us brothers to participate. Absolutely. I'll always allow y'all to participate because, when you're respectful and y'all are respectful and y'all don't just kind of try to come in and tell women what they need to be doing and all that stuff. You all have been awesome. I don't know why that tickled me, but it just did. It tickled my socks off. So thank you all. Thank you all. I love y'all to life. I want to remind you that this week also, so tomorrow we have Detox for Your Soul. What other things are coming up? Wednesday night, we have the Midweek Jammy Jam. The Midweek Jammy Jam. It's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm starting to tickle myself, sorry. At 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Wednesday nights. And then also on Thursday, I'm working on something on Life Unscripted, which is the daytime, just the daytime talk show. That's why it's Life Unscripted. It could be anything. Working on bringing to you a couple of people. One is she's a patent holder. She works in the beauty industry. She created a very popular makeup sponge called the Makeup Bullet, and working to bring her on to just share with you, dream builder stuff and her journey of building her brand. And we'll see where else the discussion takes us. What's in the tea? It's just green tea. I promise. See, it really is. It's just green tea. I promise. But the thing is, I'm just full of joy. What could I tell you? She is a boss. She's a boss babe, and we love her, Eva J. Bunkley. So I will talk to you all later. I love y'all to life. Make sure that you go out and make this an awesome day. Practice mindfulness. Email me, inbox me. Let me know how that's working for you. What are you doing to increase your sense of mindfulness? What weight did you lift today to build that muscle of mindfulness? That's what it's all about. And until next time, love y'all. Bye-bye. Oh, wait, one more thing. I am a coach. If you need help, I can help you. That's all. I am a coach. If you need help, I can help you. Okay. Bye-bye.